Namaste. In our continued bliss to enjoy Sri Krishna's names in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are in yet another episode. As we all know, the last episode we started with the 18th chapter. The whole Srimad Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. When we saw Keshi Nishudhana as the divine name in the last episode, which happened in the 18th chapter, first sloka. Now, as the remaining part of the 18th chapter, you will see Lord Sri Krishna doing a lot of speeches and giving advices and direction. And this is a very important chapter as well, because Charama Sloka is there, the sloka of surrender is there in this chapter. So obviously Sri Krishna is speaking. The 18th chapter, 73rd sloka is where Arjuna addresses Krishna for one last time in the whole Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And what name does he use there? Achyuta. And very interestingly, Achyuta as a name comes twice before. We've seen this. The very first name that Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna is Achyuta in the first chapter. Ratam Stapaya Achyuta is what he says, and says, please lead the chariot to a place. So that's what he says. And in the 11th chapter, when he sees the Vishwarupa, again he calls Achyuta. Now the very interesting fact to know that start and end of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna uses Achyuta, and the most important chapter of seeing the Vishwarupa is saying Achyuta. So we know how important among all the names. Of course, every Naama of Sri Krishna is important, every Naama of Sri Krishna is divine. But in terms of the Anubhava Dhara, the Achyuta gives an extra exciting feeling because it comes in most important chapters at 1, 11 and 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The interesting fact is, what does Achyuta mean? Okay, Achyuta, as one of the names as we've seen earlier in this episode, when it's addressed to Sri Krishna, is to mention that one who doesn't move out of his position. He maintains his posture, demeanor, position at all times. I mean, these are simple English words, but we are talking to a Sarvaloka Maheshwara like Sri Krishna, one who stands in his position irrespective whether he is now a Partha Sarathi or if he is taking as an incarnation as Rama, Narsimha, Vamana and all that. He maintains his position as a Sarvaloka Maheshwara, and that is what Achyuta means. And the corollary of that is, or in addition to that, is also that those who surrender into this Achyuta, he ensures that those bhaktas, those disciples or those devotees do not move away from their position and their status. Because when Arjuna first addressed Sri Krishna as Achyuta, he was in a state of being forlorn. He was, in fact, his Khandiba is about to fall out of his hand. So he was in a position or a state of mind losing himself. But because he used Achyuta, and again in the 11th chapter when he sees Sri Krishna and the Vishwarupa is Achyuta, and again end with full realization that he is Sarvaloka Maheshwara, he is going to perform his duty and everything. Again he uses Achyuta is because by very fact that Arjuna addressed Sri Krishna as Achyuta, Sri Krishna has ensured that this Arjuna surrendered to me, who is seeking my help. I will ensure that he doesn't move out of his roles and his duties and his status. And that is why Achyuta becomes very important. So this name Achyuta becomes a very beautiful thread coming across in the first, 11th and 18th. And very important is to the other names that we are going to see in this chapter, how it is interlinked. So let us look at the slokas now.
Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Arjuna uvacha param brahma parandhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum tvamadidevah purushah puranah tvamasya vishvasya parannidhanam vetasi vedyam cha parancha dhama tvaya tatam vishvam Anantharoopa.
So the sloka addressed two different names that we have not seen so far, Ajaha and Anantharoopa. Now this name Ajaha actually appeared in an earlier sloka that we saw in 4th chapter, 6th sloka. But we use that to address another name, but Ajaha is mentioned there, where Krishna says that he is Ajaha. And in the 10th chapter, 12th sloka, again Ajaha is coming in, where Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna as Ajaha. So this is a name which both Sri Krishna uses to tell about himself, and Arjuna also addresses Sri Krishna as Ajaha. Now, and the other name that we are going to look at is Anantharoopa. Very interesting fact again on this episode is we first saw about Achyuta, which is coming as chapter 1, chapter 11 and chapter 18. Now we are looking at Ajaha and Anantharoopa. Now all these three starts with A. Now why A becomes very important is in the 10th chapter, Sri Krishna says Aksharanam Akarosmi. In the alphabets I am A. So any time you even say absent-mindedly you are actually calling Sri Krishna. So A is so powerful that we, whether knowingly or unknowingly we say we are actually referring to Sri Krishna, and that is very important to know. And the interesting fact, it's an Anubhava again here, because we are talking about Achyuta, Ajaha and Anantharoopa all coming as A. This Ajaha is a name which has beautiful connotation, where it is where Sri Krishna is explaining his Avatara Gnyanam in the 4th chapter, because what he tells Arjuna is, you know Arjuna, whatever I am telling you now, I have already told Surya Bhagavan some time back, some eons back. Arjuna is stunned. Yes, and Surya taught Manu taught Ishwaku, so the whole chain is continuing of what I taught Surya Bhagavan some yuga back. And Arjuna is now saying, you are with me, I saw your Tiruvavataram, that you are all born around this time and all that. How is that possible that you are able to teach Surya some yugas before? And that is when Sri Krishna smilingly says, I am born by my own sankalpa, my own icha. I know all my births. Everything is, see, we are all born by our karma. While Sri Krishna's born, that's why I use the word avatara, or in English as incarnation, it's not birth, because it is in Sri Krishna's own icha or sankalpa that he decides to be born as a Rama or a Krishna or Narasimha. So that birth, within quotes, is basically an incarnation or avatara. So he explains this and says, I am Sarvaloka Maheshwara, I am Ajaha, one who does not have a birth within quotes to say, and that is what he is explaining or revealing in the 4th chapter, 6th sloka. So this is the Avatara Gnyanam that Sri Krishna is teaching Arjuna. So through Arjuna we are also being taught. In the 10th chapter, 12th sloka, Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna as Ajaha here, and he says why? Because all the rishis are addressing you as Ajaha, and I am seeing with respect that Ajaha is there. Even in Sahasrama, which comes later, Bhishma Pitamaha addresses Sri Krishna as Ajaha. So Ajaha again is one who does not have the concept of birth, Pirappilla, as we say in Tamil, one who is birthless. And that is how we understand Sri Krishna is the divine incarnation of Sriman Narayana, who is eternal. He is always there. And that is the Avatara Gnyanam that we are all getting imparted through Arjuna by Sri Krishna himself. The next Tirunama that we are looking at here is Anantharoopa. In 11th chapter, what Arjuna is saying, Vishwarupa. The term Rupa is very interesting, right? Because till along he is saying Sri Krishna is driving his chariot, and then after a lot of questions, answers and this, and 10th chapter, with a lot of inputs that he gets from Krishna, in the 11th chapter he expects, hey Krishna, can I be blessed with this complete form of Vishwarupa? And that is when Sri Krishna blesses Arjuna as a devotee with faith and love. Whatever we ask, Krishna is ready to give. In the battlefield, Arjuna asks and requests Sri Krishna to see the Vishwarupa form, and Sri Krishna grants him with the divine vision, the Divya Shakshus, so that Arjuna can see the Vishwarupa. And that is what he is saying, and in Vishwarupa he is seeing the Sarvaloka Maheshwara, many forms, many things, a lot of things, and that's why he says Anantharoopa. So again, it's not just Vishwarupa, it's also Anantharoopa, because he sees everybody and everything inside Sri Krishna. So Ananta, everything, endless or all-inclusive. So we can use this term Ananta in both forms. We have a lot of treasures around us. We sometimes realize it, sometimes we don't realize it. Is it peculiar to us? It is peculiar to humans. Okay? But there is something that happened during Sri Krishna Avatar days, that the people in the Gokulam were blessed with something very, very unique, which they missed. Probably they didn't realize, and that is the Icha of Sri Krishna, but it's part of his Leela. What am I talking about? So, Brahma, the four-headed Devata, wanted to test Sri Krishna. Why he wanted to test Sri Krishna is because he couldn't take it that Sri Krishna was moving around with children and amongst the cattle, and very, very normally. He is Sarvaloka Maheshwara, he is Paramatma, but he is walking around casually and having lunch with from everybody around him, from all the villagers and children of the villages who are basically raising cows and calves. So how Krishna eats is very beautifully defined in Srimad Bhagavatam, where he has food in both arms, he has pickles topping all the fingers like finger tops. So he takes one morsel of food, then that takes the pickle like this. Can you imagine Krishna doing this? And that is how simply he is there. People say he is Paratvam, right? He is everything, he is Sarvaloka Maheshwara. When we say this, we get a kind of respect and certain amount of fear. Could we enjoy the feeling of love towards a Paratvam, Sarvaloka Maheshwara? If we see his Vishwarupa form, we will definitely worship him. I am not sure if we will love him. So Krishna wants us to love him. So he shows his Saulabhya once in a while, so that here, as Sri small Bala Krishna, he is moving around with people and giving us certain leelas, very important like this, where we can fall in love with Sri Krishna. If many of his Krishna leela will make us fall in love again and again and again. So like this it is there. Brahma says, what is this? Sarvaloka Maheshwara is being like this, so let me test it. And as Krishna is having lunch like this, Brahma quietly makes everybody disappear. All the fellow children out there, the cattle, the cows and calves, everything suddenly disappears. Krishna is eating, suddenly sees nobody around him and walks around like this with his food and searching. Then realizes what's happening, he smiles quietly, and suddenly Sri Krishna, though he is Saulabhya, because that is again Sri Krishna, ensures that we start loving him by his Saulabhya. At the same time, he is very clear that we can't take him granted, so he shows his Paratvam once in a while. So, not to get afraid because of Paratvam, he shows his Saulabhya. Not to take his Saulabhya as granted, he shows his Paratvam. So here, Brahma took Saulabhya for granted and tried to test it. Krishna knew what was happening. You know what he did? He transformed himself as all the children, all the cattle which means the cow and the calf, everybody as Krishna himself. So Krishna manifested as all the children and all the cattle out there. In the evening, all these people go to the village, right? So in Gokulam. So they all go back. Who is going back? It's Krishna is going back as the children of every house. Krishna is going back as the cow and the calf. The calf that runs behind the cow to take its milk is also Krishna. So the people in Gokulam were so blessed to see Krishna as their child. Probably Krishna didn't want them to know, because if we know that our child is Krishna himself, I think we'll just fall flat, because it's too much to take. It's too much to take. So Krishna was there as their children and as their cattle and just being reared by everybody for one full night. Brahma came and said, I thought everybody would be worried without seeing their children and all that. I'm seeing everybody happy. Realizes what it is, and Krishna shows himself, that shows to Brahma also that I am inside you too as Antaryami. So this is what you talk of Anantharoopa. In that village, in that Gokulam, Sri Krishna was everything. Anantharoopa, cow, calf, the children, everything is Anantharoopa. Even the food, even the feed of the cow, for the cow, it was Krishna. So Anantharoopa. Such is the greatness of Sri Krishna as Anantharoopa, which is what Arjuna is seeing now in part of Vishwarupa, where he is addressing him as Anantharoopa. Anantharoopa is a Anubhava Gnyanam, a Jnana that is we get by experiencing that he is Ananta, he is endless, he is everything and all that. So that is what Arjuna was granted. Through Arjuna we are also granted. We saw Ajaha as Avatara Gnyanam. We are seeing now Anantharoopa as Anubhava Gnyanam. So all these things we saw Achyuta, because 18th chapter, as we saw, it's the chapter of surrender. 18th chapter, 66 sloka is the Charama sloka, sloka of surrender, which all of us know, we must know. In that sloka, in 73rd sloka, Arjuna again calls Sri Krishna as Achyuta. This time, completely knowing that Sri Krishna is everything and he is Achyuta, an unfailing one who always keeps his stand and who ensures all those who surrendered to him also maintain the standard. So that is how Sri Krishna is addressed as Achyuta, and Achyuta is Ashraya Gnyanam, the surrender Jnana that comes because of surrender to Sri Krishna. So this episode we saw Achyuta, Achyuta, Anantharoopa and Ajaha. Achyuta is Ashraya Gnyanam, Ajaha is Avatara Gnyanam, and Anantharoopa is Anubhava Gnyanam. Let us worship Sri Krishna. He is Anantharoopa, he is Antaryami in us, he is Antaryami in you, he is everywhere, omnipresent, omnipotent. Let's worship Sri Krishna, who is birthless, Ajaha, because every incarnation he takes on his own will, on his own sankalpa, and that is why he is here, and he is Achyuta. As long as we hold him with surrender to him with love and faith, he will ensure that we hold our stand and he will always protect us. Jai Shri Krishna. Namaste.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Rishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bhagavan Janardana